I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed. I am your TV Guidance Counselor. This is the show where each and every week since Valentine's Day 2014, I have talked to an interesting person, usually using a back issue of TV Guide magazine as the inspiration for our conversation. And this week it's a returning guest, former Boston comic Shawn Carter, who had a comedy album out before, although he's erased it from history. So the last time he was on, we talked about that, but let's pretend we didn't. He has a new comedy album out on Quinn Medicine Records called From Boston to Bristol. The name, of course, because he moved to Bristol, Tennessee, and opened a comedy club called Blue Ridge Comedy. And we talk quite a bit about that here. I still need to figure out if I'm going to go down there. It'll make more sense after you listen to the episode, but always love reconnecting with old friends. It's always fun to catch up with people like Shawn. This is a really fun one. I think this one's very funny, so you will enjoy laughing along with us on this week's episode. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Shawn Carter.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Returning to the show, but for the first time via satellite and from a brand new state, from Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Shawn Carter. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Good. It's been 3 or 4 years since you've been on the show, and in that time you moved to Tennessee, unrelated to your appearance on the show.
Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, I got to get out of here. Things have gone downhill.
You met a gal who's from that area? Is that what happened?
She's from Bristol, Tennessee. And we ended up moving back to her hometown.
Weren't you like going tiny home mobile for a bit?
Yeah, we bought an RV. We thought we were going to like live out of our RV for like a year. But that was like right when COVID hit. So we we had gotten rid of our apartment and everything. And we thought we were going to live out of an RV. And then we just ended up living in her parents' basement for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, although, to be honest, that would be the best time to live in an RV because you could really marauder. Like, there'd be no one in the streets. They'd all be at home, and you get a mobile home.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it was probably a great time for people that were, like, experienced at it. But if you're just starting out and, like, you plan to be at campsites where you have hookups and stuff like that, a lot of those places are closed. Like, a lot of places have, like, common areas, like, restrooms and stuff, and those all closed. But if you were an experienced person in an RV, probably like boondocking and like just living on your own was probably pretty sweet.
Well, you know the terminology, like boondocking. I'd never heard that. So, at least it sounds like you are experienced now.
Yeah, I got to read up on it for like 6 months before we didn't do it.
That's the best way to experience life. Yeah. Read up on it for 6 months and then don't do it.
Yeah. It was stressing me out going to do it. I was like, I don't know if we can manage this. And then
because you had visions of being like a traveling comic.
Yeah.
That sounds like hell to me.
Yeah, it was like I got to go to all these new cities and meet people, because that was kind of my plan, was to kind of like start meeting people in other cities and like building up networks, because I didn't know a ton of people outside of Boston and like a few other cities. So yeah, it was kind of a relief when COVID hit, honestly.
I know you had a list of people that you planned to kill and took care of them for you. Yeah, because you're not, because you like went to school in Boston. Like you didn't really you didn't really travel that much out of New England, right?
No, I stuck in Boston for like most of my life. I went to school like all in Massachusetts, lived my adult life in like Bridgewater and then Quincy. And my wife had traveled a little bit more, so she was probably like, we got this.
Where'd you meet her?
In Boston. She had a job in Boston at the time. And I know you guys met because we met, where was it? Where Motley's used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was somebody's show on like the 3rd floor or something. But
Sean Sullivan's record release show.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That was a good time. But yeah, she had traveled a bunch, so I think we just felt like we could do this.
I think your plan would have worked better as if instead of an RV, you bought one of those mobile stripper bachelor party buses. Because what a great way to network.
Yeah. I would have met a lot of comics. Be like my little spider web to get them in, you know?
Right. Whether you wanted to or not, you would have collected them. And you opened a comedy club down there.
Yeah.
So where's Bristol? It's like Dollywood area?
Well, that's like 2 hours from us. So that's,
okay.
I think that's Sevierville or Pigeon Forge. I honestly get confused with whether Pigeon Forge is like a town or like how people call New England. It's like a region,
right.
you know? But Dollywood isn't that far from us, but Bristol is on the Virginia border. It's Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia. They're like twin cities right next to each other. And
they're both named Bristol?
Yeah, they're both Bristol. Yeah.
How lazy.
Yeah.
You think guys like get drunk and wake up and they're like, where are you? You're in Bristol. And they're like, oh no.
It happened again. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was founded by somebody that had just bought like 100 acres that was like just kind of over the, you know, the state line. And then they just kept growing each city in each direction. So now it's like, and calling it a city is pretty like, you know, that's pretty generous because it's still pretty rural here.
Yeah, because so is there a downtown? Like, I need to know more about this strange southern city that you lived in.
Yeah, so let me paint a little bit of a picture of the downtown for you, just to give you an idea. So the downtown is, I think it's like 5 or 6 blocks, but honestly, it's like a half a mile, okay? And none of the buildings are taller than 4 stories.
Okay.
And it's just basically that one street. It's called State Street. One side of the street is Bristol, Tennessee. The other side of the street is Bristol, Virginia.
Oh, it's actually split down the middle of the road.
Yeah. The downtown, like our main like hub, is the border of the state, of each state. And it's like a half a mile probably, and just like a bunch of businesses down there. I mean, they got, you know, everything that you'd want probably. You know, they got pool and bowling and comedy club now, restaurants.
So when you say everything that you want, you don't mean me specifically.
Yeah, not everything you want. I was like, as I started saying that, I was like, Ken's not going to want any of this stuff.
There's a cornhole place and
there's a lot of breweries. You'd love it, man.
There's a whole store just sells shorts.
Yeah.
So is there like a different tax rate for one state than the other? Because you'd be paying like different stuff across the street.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like I think Bristol, Tennessee doesn't have like income tax as a like state.
Well, they don't have
the
income.
State of Tennessee doesn't have income tax, and the state of Virginia doesn't have sales tax, or at least Bristol, Virginia doesn't. So it's like, yeah, you want to live on the Tennessee side, work on the Tennessee side, spend your money on the Virginia side, and not support any government infrastructure. Yeah, you can do that.
Is the age of consent much lower on one side than the other?
I don't know, man. I actually, you know what? You know what's weird, and it's going to surprise you, is I haven't looked it up. That's probably...
Well, ignorance is bliss, but it doesn't protect you from the law, Shawn.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that.
Because I'm just picturing a scenario where someone, and again, I'm going to do a hillbilly accent without knowing anything about this place, but someone's on like one side of the street and the cops are like, hey man, you're under arrest. And he's like, oh yeah? Nope, I'm in a different state.
Yeah, I wonder, I don't know how they coordinate with that downtown, because it is like, you could literally cross the street and be, you know, you could be pursued and then be like across the street. So I literally don't know how they manage that, but they do have separate police forces, like, you know, on one side of the street and on the other side of the street. So
by force, do you mean like one guy?
Well, I mean, on the Tennessee side, it's like one guy. There's like an older guy, and he rides one of those like Segways, and he just kind of like pops into the club every once in a while, and he's like, you guys all right? And we're like, yep. And then he just segues off into the distance.
I'm picturing like a Mad Magazine Spy vs. Spy. Like one year, one guy has to wear a black hat, the other guy wears a white hat, and then they switch every couple of years. Yeah,
no, the other side of Virginia has there's like, I never see police over there at all. So there's just they don't have a presence over there really. So, yeah.
Fireworks, legal on one side and not the other?
I think they're legal on both. I think Virginia is fine with it. And Tennessee is kind of like the most sort of like like how I imagine the Old West, I guess. Like there's just not as many regulations and laws and
A lot
stuff.
of bordellos and clap and
Yeah. That was one of the things when we opened the club. They were like, we have to walk through and make sure that you don't have any like living areas and like back rooms that are like secret, you know, because if you're serving alcohol, they want to make sure that it's not something like that, like some kind of brothel or something.
So to open a comedy club, because you served alcohol, they were like, we have to check to make sure that you're not sex trafficking.
Yeah, I think so. I think anywhere that you're selling alcohol, they have to walk through and make sure that it's not like some kind of living area in there.
See, I suspect they were like, well, clearly no one's making money doing comedy clubs, so it has to be some kind of front.
Well, they were right about that part. So.
Well, you're still doing it. You know, it's working.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years now, so it's fine. It's you know, I mean, it's a passion project, so.
Passion project is not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm saying I'm not getting rich here.
I think a good name for a record, which you have a new one out. It's your second or your third?
Yeah, this is my second. Although I pulled the old one offline, so you can't find it anyway.
Good move.
This
Man,
is basically...
that thing's terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
So let's call it my first. Let's just call it my first.
Okay. But I think Crimes of Passion Project would be a good...
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so
I like that.
people can just have that. Anyway, so you were going to do this like 6 months ago, and then you ghosted me. And I was like, Shawn owns a comedy club. He's big up in me. I understand, you know, it happens.
Not at all, man. I don't know what happened. I had like a publicist that we were working with, and then I thought I reached out, and maybe I didn't. I lose track of things very easily, man. It is.
Yeah, he's not wearing a shirt, everybody.
Wow. I'm not.
But he was when we started, so I don't know.
It's getting out of control over here. I'm feeling the heat.
No, it's fine. I'm just giving you crap. But you picked an issue here, and I'm going to ask you why you picked it, but I probably know. And it's from January 30th to February 5th, 1993. So the very beginning of 1993. It's the Super Bowl issue, and it's got Coach on the cover.
Yeah, Hayden Fox, Craig T. Nelson.
So I assume that's why you went with it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. I watched Coach a ton when I was a kid.
Have you ever seen his stand-up?
No.
Did you
good?
You knew he was like he was a comedy store guy, like late 70s with Letterman and all those guys. It's not great. I will say, if you want to see his stand-up, watch Action Jackson instead, where he plays the villain. He doesn't do any stand-up in it, but that's probably a better idea. And so, yeah, he's on the cover here, and it says, Coach Craig T. Nelson, how a self-confessed loser scored a TV touchdown. There's also... I don't know what I'm going to get into it once we start flipping through, but there's a story that they're teasing on the cover that just says, how to be a party animal, which I don't imagine people are buying TV Guide for. And then an extra Letterman, Leno, who really won.
Oh yeah. Right.
Do you have a stance on that?
I mean, I was a Letterman guy. I always liked Letterman better, but you know.
Yeah. No one likes Leno. People tolerate Leno or don't know anything.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, that's so strange because it's kind of like, I guess the legacy of it is that, like, you know, it's the Tonight Show, so Leno got it, so he wins. But then, I don't know. I feel like me and everybody I've ever talked to that's around my age enjoy Letterman more. So it's kind of like really only in older folks' heads that it matters.
I would say without Leno having completely neutered the Tonight Show, we would not have Jimmy Fallon today.
So we all lost.
Yes, everybody lost. Everybody lost after that. So going through the beginning here, it's interesting because there's a fold-out ad, and it's Jerry Seinfeld like opening up his leather jacket, his super dad leather jacket with the shoulder pads and everything. But it says, "Psst, want to watch? Seinfeld's on after Cheers." So this is the first season, mid-season 1992-93, that they moved Seinfeld to Thursday night. So this is when the sort of must-see TV thing starts. We get 2 Cheers a night. We'll get to when we get to Thursday, but they have Cheers on at 8, Wings, Cheers again, and then Seinfeld at 9:30.
I mean, what a golden age of television.
It's pretty good. 2 Cheers in one night that's pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's every guy's dream in college.
Yeah. And listen, Wings is great too.
I love Wings.
I love that show.
Very underrated. Roy Biggins, one of the best creeps on TV. People give Curb Your Enthusiasm and Always Sunny in Philadelphia all this credit. They got nothing on Roy Biggins.
Yeah. No, it was a great show.
The Ask TV Guide here has some interesting questions. Like one is, I just heard that the Federal Communications Commission under the new administration is going to try to ban all religious broadcasting. Can this happen? So this is when Clinton just gets in, right? Mm. And it says, it not only can't happen, nobody's actually trying. It's just an old but persistent rumor. I imagine people freaking out where they're like, I heard Clinton was going to get rid of religious broadcasting.
Yep. Goodbye, 700 Club.
Do you get a lot of that down there? Well, you're probably not watching over-the-air TV.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you call it? Cable cutter. I mean, we were watching. It's like Netflix, Hulu, Disney over here. We don't like have any cable TV anymore, and I was gonna say, yeah, people think of it as like Bible Belt or the South or whatever, but like my wife and a lot of other people would consider where I live. They wouldn't consider it the South. They would consider it Appalachia.
I getcha. So people talk with French accents and marry their cousins instead of their sisters.
That's the idea.
Also, I want a belt buckle that's a Bible.
Yeah. Hey.
I can't believe I haven't seen that. And there's another story here where it says, I love Westerns and was glad to see Jane Seymour show up in Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Are there any other Westerns in the works? And it talks about two that never happened, which is very interesting. And this question broke my heart a little bit. It's like 3 years too late, though. It says, with Jim Henson gone, is Sesame Street's Ernie also gone forever?
What?
He died in 1990, so this is 3 years. They're like, hey, you know what I was thinking? And they're like, no, he was also Kermit, and Kermit's back. And
was he the only one that was allowed to work the puppet or Muppet?
I really enjoyed watching you try to find the correct word there. You wanted to say manipulate.
Yeah.
No, well, he did the voice too.
Okay.
So, although I will say, as a diehard Henson fan, post-Henson Muppets, garbage.
That's too bad.
I don't know. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but...
I don't know. I haven't watched... I used to watch it a lot when I was younger, and I haven't watched it recently except for to rewatch the Christmas Carol one.
And that's post Jim.
Is it?
Yep.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's okay-ish.
Yeah.
But considering how bad it gets later, oof. Then there's a short-lived feature called What I Watch in here. And I bring this one up because they have Joan Rivers. And they never watch what you think they would watch. And she just says she watches CNN.
Weird.
I would not have guessed that.
No.
Very strange. And then we got a review of Sisters, which was a show that I watched even though I was 12 years old, and it's about middle-aged women.
I don't remember that one.
It was very good. It was Celia Ward. It was a little bit like 30-something. It was like a 10 o'clock show about like sisters.
Yeah.
And, one had cancer, and then they're having one's cheating on their husband, a divorce, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing we all like to watch. Craig T. Nelson article in here. I'll give him credit because there's lots of pictures of him with dogs.
Hey, that's great. What a
Do you
guy.
have a dog? Do you have a dog?
I do have a dog. Did I not tell you about this?
No. I've not heard about this dog. What the hell?
Oh, well, our dog, we found our dog on the side of the road. She was just like a puppy. And then we couldn't find an owner, so we just took her in. And now she lives with us.
That seems like a very Tennessee story.
Yeah, it happens a lot around here. A lot of people just kind of like discard dogs, which is sad.
They're like, last night I came home with a beautiful woman. This morning I woke up and it was a dog. I think that happens a lot. Anyone who was listening to the show that lives in Tennessee no longer is listening to the show.
You know what? We're done.
That's fine. It's fine. Then there's an amazing, really terrible ad for an arthritis cream called Zero Pain that looks like a bingo dauber. And it's my favorite because it's got a picture of Frankie Avalon, But this is 93, and this picture of him is from like 1981. And then in quotes, it says, "How I conquered arthritis pain." And then it attributes it to Frankie Avalon. I suspect he had nothing to do with this ad.
Yeah, you had no idea that was happening.
My God. Frankie Avalon, how's your arthritis? Fine. Okay. We'll take your picture and put it in this ad. They say they think Dave was the winner, by the way, in the Leno-Dave war.
That's great. So everybody agrees.
I love this, though. They go, CBS wants its affiliates to drop him for Letterman. Fox stations feel the same pressure to carry Chevy Chase's upcoming late night show. And then they go, woof, woof. Uh-oh. Oh, that was bad. The Chevy Chase show was bad. Have you ever watched it?
No, I didn't even know that it existed.
Oh, do yourself a favor. Not right now, because we're talking. But
I'm going to make a note of it, though.
Go on YouTube. Check out the Chevy Chase show. It is the worst talk show.
Okay.
It is real bad.
Chase show. Got it.
It's even worse than Magic Johnson's show.
I didn't know that existed either.
Oh, you never saw the Magic Hour?
There we go. Magic Hour. Writing it down.
Wow. Yeah.
I know. What am I even doing on this show?
I mean, wow. Also, this is a Boston area edition. So before we get to the listings on Saturday night, I do want to mention that at noon on Saturday, local show Wraparound was on.
Wraparound?
You don't recall Wraparound?
I don't remember that now. This was 93, so I'll be 12, 11? Yeah.
You were prime age for Wraparound. It's for teenagers. It was a show on Channel 4, and it was hosted by Tom. Oh my God, why am I forgetting? Dance with the Stars. Tom Bergeron.
Okay.
And Tom Bergeron hosted the show where he'd like interview local Boston teenagers about various things. Already gold. This particular episode is about racism in high schools.
Oh boy. And they're asking teenagers about it?
Boston area teenagers.
That's going to be rough.
But in the best way.
That's going to be tough to watch.
Oh, Wraparound is well worth watching. It is, man. It is great stuff. Yeah, we all wanted to be on Wraparound. Did you ever go to a taping to anything when you were in Boston? Like any local shows?
No, I didn't even know that you could do that. I was, yeah. My TV consumption was like probably more. I probably wasn't really even aware of like the local shows happening. I probably thought everything was just like the Muppets or like.
Everything's the Muppets.
Everything's the Muppets.
Full stop. That's your whole statement.
What a great world.
I thought everything was the Muppets. I had no idea.
I probably thought everything was out of like Hollywood.
I'm just picturing someone being like, "What are you guys watching? The Muppet Show?" And they're like, "It's the news." And he's like, "Hey, can you? Are you watching this? I want to watch the Muppet Show."
The news would be better if only Muppets delivered it.
That's true.
I'm convinced of that.
That's true. So, what on Saturday night jumped out to you?
Saturday night. Can you go down the
Let
list
you know.
here?
Yeah, you lost the PDF.
Yeah, I lost the PDF. I did.
So we got, let's see. You got a lot of pre-Super Bowl stuff. So the Super Bowl is the next day. Mm-hmm. So although you do have a thing called Islands of New England, a documentary about Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket.
Definitely not watching that. That would.
You got Empty Nest. You got Cannonball Run 2. Mm-hmm. Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman is on. Cops. You got.
Either probably Cops or Medicine Woman, if I'm being honest. Those are like the two that I would watch out of that.
Did you used to watch Medicine Woman at the time?
Yeah, I didn't watch it like regularly, but yeah, I've seen it.
Would that be something you'd watch alone or with a grandparent?
No, I'd watch it alone.
Really?
Yeah. It's good. It's a good quality show.
So you're like, I would never watch Wraparound, but at 12 years old on a Saturday night, I would definitely sit alone and watch Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like Old West stuff, right? So I think like that alone was like appealing, right?
This particular episode, I just read what it's about, and it's a bit chilling. It is, as Dr. Quinn struggles to persuade the townspeople that smallpox vaccinations are necessary, the father of her adopted child arrives in town.
Yeah, this seems like a little bit too modern at this point.
You know, it really shouldn't, though.
Yeah, it should. No. We need Dr. Quinn right now just on the news going, hey, vaccinations are good, guys.
Hey, guys, it's 1820. Let's have a conversation that we shouldn't be having in 120 years.
Yep.
My God. Yeah, that's not a bad move. All right. I'll allow it. And then at 9, you got stuff like Golden Girls, Empty Nest. There's a show called Raven on, which is an action show. This was a mid-season replacement. It was actually based on an indie comic book, which was really unusual to have like a comic book show on. It's terrible, but it was kind of cool to see it on. This is about an evil ski instructor in this episode.
I definitely did not catch that.
Have you been skiing?
Oh, man. Have I? Yeah. I have been skiing. I feel like, are you leading me into this? Is this because...
No.
Okay.
Was it like, you don't know Shawn Carter is well known for his skiing?
No, I did a bit on the album about it. That's why I was like, is Ken trying to like lead me into...
I'm setting you up. That's very Leno of me.
Yeah. I'm just going to do bits like it's conversational.
Yeah.
No, I did. I went skiing like in my 20s a bunch. And then when me and Sarah got together, we went skiing together. But she's like a very, very good skier. And I talk a little bit on the album about like how I thought I'd be better than her. And it was like purely sexism. And like, honestly, because I can't keep up at all.
So were you like, no more skiing?
No, I mean, like, well, now we don't really go skiing because we live in Tennessee and we have a 3-year-old and then for a while because of COVID, but I would like to go skiing again, but
Get that 3-year-old on skis.
That's actually probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Then they can take care of you with that sweet ski instructor money.
Right. Exactly.
What about water skis? I've never done that.
Oh, yeah. I used to water ski. When I was a kid, we'd go out on the boat, and we did, like, knee boarding and water skiing, and then, like, tubing if we felt lazy about it.
Injuries?
No, I never got any injuries. Like, me and my brothers we'd go out there next to each other, and sometimes we'd crash into each other, but we never got hurt, which is pretty amazing, actually.
So you were playing, like, full contact tubing.
Yeah, like you're like, well, not on tubes, like on like knee boards. You'd get like next to each other and try and knock each other over and stuff.
I'd watch that on TV.
Oh, dude, that'd be a good contact sport.
Yeah, that'd be way better than the Super Bowl. They'd have a point system. It'd be great. Also, the 5th anniversary special of Later with Bob Costas is on. And people forget that Bob Costas, who's a sports guy, he had a great talk show. And it was just him and one guest. That's it for the whole duration of each episode. And most of the time, if it was a particularly interesting guest, he'd have them on every night for a week.
Wow.
So you'd get like hours of conversations, and there's a bunch of them on YouTube that are really good. So this is sort of like a best of the last 5 years. But that well worth checking out. There's a really great one with Chris Elliott and his dad, actually. That's very, very interesting. There's a lot of good comedy people. He's kind of a comedy nerd, which is funny.
Nice. I gotta check that out.
You get a long list. Then we have on Fox, after In Living Color became very popular, they gave Julie Brown, regular Julie Brown, not Downtown Julie Brown, a sketch show called The Edge. Do you recall this one?
I don't. I do remember the In Living Color. I don't remember The Edge.
So The Edge was one season. Jennifer Aniston was a cast member.
Oh, no kidding.
Wayne Knight was a cast member.
Wow.
And it's where Tom Kenny and his still wife, Jill Talley, first met. They both went on to be on Mr. Show after this. It's weird. Sometimes it's funny. This particular episode is the Three Stooges are hired to perform an exorcism.
Okay. That is weird.
That's a good premise.
But
good
I like those people.
Yeah. Rick Overton was on it. It's a pretty good cast. Yeah. 9 out of 10 jokes on the show were about how Delta Burke is fat, though. It really was like their go-to for whatever weird reason.
Yeah, that's so great.
Sunday, I presume you went Super Bowl.
I'm sure. Well, who was playing in the Super Bowl? Because that's a big...
We got the Buffalo Bills versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was watching that for sure.
Do you remember who won?
I'm sure the Cowboys won because I'm pretty sure that the Cowboys won every time that they played in the Super Bowl versus the Bills. The Bills went to like 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost all of them. So, and it was like right in that time frame. It was like the early 90s.
Do you think, because 1991 Silence of the Lambs came out, obviously the killer was called Buffalo Bill. Do you think that helped or hurt the Buffalo Bills?
I think this is my favorite conspiracy theory is that the Buffalo Bills could not be allowed to win the Super Bowl because of the negativity brought by the Silence of the Lambs.
That makes sense. I think we need to float that on the internet. The Super Bowl pregame, which runs for 2.5 hours. I don't know if that still is the case, but Bob Costas is the host for the pregame festivities, including performances by Fleetwood Mac and Glenn Frey, who were old then.
Yeah.
A preview of Michael Jackson's halftime performance, and Magic Johnson interviews the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. And that's probably, I bet 2 hours, 2.5 hours is still what they do pregame.
How?
It's big TV, man. Everybody will tune in for anything that says Super Bowl on it. Like, it's
But what do they
huge.
talk about?
Nothing really. I mean, it's just, it's a bunch of BS. They just throw the word Super Bowl on it and people are going to listen to it or watch it.
I mean, as you well know, I'm not a sports guy. And I understand if people are like talking about a game after it happened. That makes sense to me because you could be like, this part was good. But the pregame is where I get confused.
Well, you got to understand they spent a whole season leading up to this. So there's like, now people are going to be like, well, let's talk to the coach because we're going to talk about their whole season and what they did, all that stuff.
But isn't he just going to be like, we played games and won?
It depends on the coach. Like Bill Belichick would probably never say anything. He'd just be like, it was a good season. We played games and won, but other coaches are a little bit more charismatic. They might have more to say. This
is I just searched who won Super Bowl 31 or 26. That's what this is, Super Bowl 26. And it says, led by their brilliant young quarterback and backed by a defense that forced a record 9 turnovers, the Dallas Cowboys finished with a maverick owner and a rookie coach began dreaming about in the summer of 1989 as they crushed the hapless Buffalo Bills 52-27 to win Super Bowl 27.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just a football game, but look at that. That's good writing.
It really is. It's from the Washington Post. Although you could just put that same exact thing, just change the year and the team names.
Yeah, and you could do
every
year. Maybe change the number of turnovers, but yeah.
There's a special on, because I always like to see what they put on opposite the Super Bowl. Because you can't just not show anything, but
right.
No one's going to watch whatever you're airing.
What are you putting up to lose? Like, what are you like? This show is definitely, nobody's going to watch it, but we got to fill time somehow.
There's a special called City Kids, and it says, Muppet and human city kids ponder teen topics in this informative and entertaining special. Some of the questions are serious, like what to do when confronted with prejudice. Some aren't. What to do? Go to the movies or just hang out? So it's almost like someone was listening to our conversation, Sean, and they went, let's do wrap around with Muppets.
Yes. Now you see how important Muppets are to 1993.
Have you ever had ventriloquists on at your comedy club?
Oh, man. We haven't had ventriloquists, but we have had people handling puppets that are not good at it.
The puppets aren't good at being handled, or the people aren't good at handling the puppets?
The people aren't good at manipulating or doing the voices. Like, we had a puppet show where somebody, like a guy here, made like 4 or 5 puppets. Like, he made them just to do this one show. And they did a show just where every comedian just did their act through a puppet. And it was terrible. It was an awful show.
Did he make the puppets to look like the comics?
No, he just made them to look like different characters. Like, one of them in like overalls and.
Okay, I need more information on this now. So, did this guy pitch this show to you?
Yeah, or the guy that made them didn't pitch the show to me, but somebody else pitched the show. And I was like, yeah, sure. Do a show with puppets. Sounds like fun. And then this guy who just likes to get into like hobbies, like very quickly try to learn something new.
Yeah.
He was like, I bet I can make some puppets. So he got some fabric and whatever else and made like 4 or 5 puppets in like a month.
And so the premise of this live show was people are just going to do their regular sets, but they're going to be hiding behind a desk or something, and they'll be doing it as a puppet.
Yeah, that was basically it.
And how were the puppets assigned to people?
I think that they chose what they wanted their puppet to look like, and then the guy that made them tried to get it as close as possible.
I see. And so did he do this on his own dime?
Yeah. He was just like, this seems like fun. I'm just going to make a bunch of puppets. And he did.
And you're aware of where this guy is now?
Yeah, he's still around. He actually was doing stand-up for a little while. Just thought that it was a fun hobby. And then he bought a house with some like acreage, and he just like went off and was like, I'm done with comedy. I'm going to do a farm now.
I'm going to do a farm now.
That's what he said, yeah.
You know what acreage is good for, don't you?
I don't know. Muppets?
Burying things, Sean.
Probably. That's probably what it is. It's filled with all of the puppets that didn't make it.
That was going to be my last question. Where are the puppets now? Did he take them with him, or did people keep the puppet?
Most people kept the puppets. One of the guys like sold it to another comic that was like just in town for the night and was like, this is so much fun. I'm going to do my act as a puppet act from now on. And he bought the puppet. And then I don't think he's ever done it like that again.
That sounds like a real weird cover story for some creep that wants a puppet.
Yeah, maybe, that might be.
He's like, and you had your hand up it the whole time, you said.
Maybe that is the best question. Where's that puppet now?
Yeah, I want a 6-part true crime podcast about that.
I don't know where he went.
Is that the weirdest show you've done at the venue?
Yeah, I think that's probably the weirdest one. Like we had a burlesque show there once that had like stand up on it as well. So that's like definitely different than our normal show. But
so it was people who can't dance and can't sew, and then people in between doing stand up, or the people who can't dance and can't sew also did stand up.
Man, we should have done burlesque puppet show. That would have been something.
Were the puppets undress people, or the puppets themselves undress?
No, the puppets are getting undressed. I think that'd be a fun one.
Well, I mean, how far in advance do you do schedules?
We're a few months out right now.
Yes.
Summertime. It could hit in the summer.
Yeah, back to school, nude puppets. Now, was the burlesque show like a big controversy? Because they already checked your club to make sure that it wasn't sex trafficking. Were they like, I better not see no nipples?
Man, it actually was kind of, yeah, they came down on us a little bit about it, the landlord.
What? I want to hear that conversation.
Well, they just, they were very concerned with what would be seen if anybody, because our club is like in a building. So like if you could be
you say that like clubs aren't normally in buildings, Sean.
It's not its own building. It's like part of a larger building.
Right.
Like so there's other tenants in that building is what I mean.
See, the unique thing about our club is it's in a building.
I understand. It sounds like I think like, hey, most of the clubs around here are farms.
Like a lot of people around here, it's unusual because I'm known for the thing I'm kind of known for is wearing store-bought clothes.
Yeah. See, what we do is something unique. We do ours inside a building.
It's a lot of people like to go to see comedy, but there's a hurricane. So he was nervous about the other tenants seeing like peers.
Yeah, they were worried. There's like a restaurant on the first floor with us, and so they were worried like, oh, there could be like a family coming out of the restaurant, and are they gonna see like a burlesque show as they walk by the door by mistake or something? So they had those kind of things. So they had us like put some like paper up on the door so that somebody wouldn't like accidentally see into the room. And
so they didn't want a kid to get horny after he just had some French fries.
Yeah, I guess so. That's probably what it was.
Were they like, okay, here's some paper, put this up? Like, was it that, or did you come up with that solution?
I might have suggested it because they were kind of like, they were kind of concerned with other people seeing it and stuff like that. So I was like, what if we just paper up the windows so that like nobody's going to see anything by accident?
And were they like, look, that stuff might fly across the street in Virginia?
It probably would have been easier in Virginia, but like everything's different just across the street, So it's like for us, we can sell alcohol, and we can be like a limited service restaurant, which means that we can sell as much as 0% food. But like in Virginia, like 40% of your sales have to be food to sell alcohol.
Oh, I see. 0% for the alcohol, not that the food is 0% food. So you're not selling like Legos for people to eat.
No, they're like a certain amount of your like revenue should come from food if you're a bar,
Good news, Sean. You can sell 0% food.
It's just like, guys, come in and get some. You're not gonna.
You never know what you're gonna get. I just got a bowl of rubber bands.
Yeah.
So the burlesque show didn't warrant, the trouble wasn't worth doing another.
I mean, I think that it was fun. Like the people that went to it had a great time. The comic that performed on it had a great time and was really well received. I think it was great. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you do jump through some hoops for it and stuff. And the person that ran it has not approached me about doing another one. So if that day comes, then I'm not like opposed to it, but it's just a little bit tougher. Any show that's not stand-up is tougher to run because stand-up, I just go in and like throw on the mic and the lights and that's it. There's no other thing to coordinate. Hey, how do you want to be introduced? That's it.
I picture you walking in with a pair of shorts on and for some reason a towel around your neck. And then you literally just throw a microphone on the stage, no stand, and you turn the lights on and you're like, I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah. Have fun, guys.
Oh boy. Are there gentlemen's clubs, like strip clubs near there?
I've heard that there are.
Are they like underground?
I mean, I haven't seen them and I haven't visited any, but I've heard people mention them, like during stand-up sets and stuff. Like, they're trying to make fun of the local strip club or whatever. So I've heard like the name of it. I think it's like the Mouse's Ear or something.
It's called the Mouse's Ear?
I think so.
What does that mean? Is that like a vagina?
Dude, if I knew, I would tell you right now. I've never heard that term before. It sounds like something I wouldn't want to name a strip club.
No.
And yet, that's what it's called.
Like someone's going, well, what am I going to see there? Okay, vaginas, but like what kind? Like, oh, you little like a mouse's ear? Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's...
Can I pay with moonshine?
Yeah, maybe, that might be the conversation. I don't know, but I think that they have them around here.
Okay. So it's not totally unprecedented.
No. Not at all. I think it's just like in that building, they were like, we don't really know if this is the right thing for our building.
Right. There's no nudity allowed in this building, which is why we don't have bathrooms.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We see even though our shows take place in the building, you have to go outside.
Yeah.
If you need to use the restroom.
And you got to dig a new hole every time.
Yeah.
My God. Is there a coffee shop on that street?
There is. It's there's a couple. There's one called the Bristol Bagel. There's one called what's it called? It just opened, but it's like a gluten-free Urban Thistle. That's the
so it's a commie place.
And there's a place called there's a place called the Blended Peddler. There's a few on the street.
The Blended Peddler?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's supposed to be like a coffee shop and bike rental place, but I've never seen them rent any bikes out, so I don't know.
What do those two things have? What is the in the Venn diagram of those two things? What's the thing in the middle? Just the owner?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where those two come together. I think that they were just like, people are going to want to rent bikes around here to ride downtown. But they were going to want coffee before they go. So they open up. But I don't think they've ever rented any bikes.
So you don't think that was like a food percentage law thing where they're like, all right, look, you can sell caffeine, but you also have to allow people to work that caffeine off on a bicycle.
That would be amazing. But no, that's Virginia, so they probably allow caffeine.
Oh, it's across the street. Yeah, it's mandatory. All right, this is fascinating. I don't know if this is fascinating for you, but I'm getting a whole lot of information for a place I'll never go.
Yeah, well, I mean, you should come down sometime. It would be nice to see you.
What's the closest airport?
Asheville, or no, we have an airport in town, but it's very small, so you can't usually get direct flights. So Asheville's like the closest that you can probably get a direct flight.
Asheville, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's like 90 minutes driving from here.
Geez, okay. So the nearest airport's an hour and a half, and the one airport you have is a coffee shop / airport.
Yeah, you can't rent a car there, but you can rent a bike to leave the airport.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll fly into Asheville and then rent myself like a Harley, like a hog, and just come into town right in the middle of town, and like people will come out of the stores and there'll be tumbleweeds and they'll be like, "Oh no."
Have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
No, have you?
No, well, I used to, when I was young, my dad would take me on the back of his sometimes.
My dad had one when I was very, very small, which is funny. But yeah, I have no desire to ride one. Would you, if someone was like, I'll give you $100 if you ride this motorcycle around the block, I'd be like, I'm good.
I would ride it for $100 for sure. Yeah. Why not? That's fine.
I thought of this the other day to get slightly political for a minute here, but where people were like, oh, Joe Biden's got dementia and Trump and this. And I go, all you have to do is get the two of them and go, ride this bike just down to the light. That's it. And then instantly, like, Trump would not even, like, he'd just disappear.
I mean, that would be an interesting, man, either of them, I think it would be tough for them to ride a bike.
Well, I've at least seen footage of Biden riding a bike.
Yeah. That's true. Didn't he fall off of it, though?
I think so. But have you ever seen, like, have you ever looked at a human being and been like, that person could never physically ride a bike? Like, it's not possible.
I'm not convinced that Trump can ride a bike.
No. There's no way. There's no way.
His criticism of Biden falling off of it is invalid until I see such activity from him.
Yeah. I mean, it like any, like, snowboard, skateboard, bike, like, none of those things are going to happen.
You know what bothers me is like sometimes somebody will like be like talk to Biden and he'll be like I'll do more push-ups than you right now, and they never let him do it. I just want to see how many. I want to see him pump out a couple.
Have you ever been challenged to a push-up contest?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What in what scenario?
I don't know, like just the bros hanging out and they're like, let's see how many you can do.
Like there's a lull in the conversation and someone's like push-up contest?
No, I don't know, man. I used to go to the gym a lot, and I was like hanging out with guys that were very like, you know, bro-y. And I don't know, something would come up about lifting or push-ups or whatever, and people would be like, I could do 20, and I'd be like, well, prove it then, or, you know. So I've certainly, at times ended up having some push-up contest or something with people.
But do you go, all right, so I imagine you would tell them, you'd go, push off.
Push off. Dude, you know what? I mean, I went to, you know who I saw? These are people that you probably wouldn't have expected it from, but I saw these guys doing like push-ups to see who could do the most when we got to like a cabin in Vermont that we were all staying at. But it was like Andrew Mayer and Will Smalley and like Rick Canavan.
Well, so by who can do the most, it was 3?
No, those dudes can all, man, I think Smalley did like 25.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So here's another idea for a show. Comics do their set while they're doing push-ups.
Oh man, that would be great. I couldn't do it now, but I would train for that.
You could call it push stand-up.
Yeah. I like it.
See?
Arm wrestling's a big one too.
Oh wait, arm wrestling's a big one too. You just threw that out like I'm not gonna like I'm just gonna move on. What? I need more elaboration here.
I don't know, man. Have you never like just had random arm wrestling in like bars or
like someone just come up to me and challenge me to an arm wrestle?
I mean, it's somebody that you know, like.
Well, certainly. I'd hope you know them.
Yeah.
No, never.
Okay. Interesting. We just live very different lives.
So people come up to me and be like, "What's up, Carter? Arm wrestle?"
Yes, for sure.
And then everyone gathers around, like someone blows a whistle or something, and then they're all like, "They're doing it."
It all starts with like this sort of like, almost like ironic tough guy talk that turns into a real arm wrestling match.
So it starts off like, "Oh, you're a wicked wuss," and then you go, "No, you are," and then he goes, "All right, arm wrestle."
Yeah, that's basically, you just summed it up.
Okay,
That's
and then what does the winner get?
Nothing. Just they get to embarrass the other person in front of a crowd.
So two grown men in a public place just locked hands and grunted in each other's faces, and you're saying one of them isn't embarrassed.
Yeah, the guy that wins is going to feel good about it, for sure.
Do you serve mixed drinks at your comedy club?
We do. Only a few, though. We don't have, we didn't want our bartenders to spend a lot of time on that. So
did you do the John Taffer calculations, and you were like, it's too much time for them to mix the drinks?
Oh man, I wish I was that good at it. We really just are like, hey, we have whiskey and we have like Coke and cranberry and we have like vodka. Like we're like, we will mix one of these either like sodas or juices with one of these alcohols that we have.
Is that an official rule?
Yeah, that's like what I tell my bartenders. I'm like, don't make anything else. And they don't know how to make anything else, so it's fine.
So if someone comes in and wants a 3-ingredient drink, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you go home.
What if they're like, I'll arm wrestle you, and if I win, I can have 3 ingredients in this drink?
Then I'd have to teach my bartenders how to make that 3-ingredient drink.
All right, here's the deal. I'm going to fly down to Asheville. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rent a motorcycle. I don't even know if that's a thing you can do.
I'm sure. I'm
going to drive 90 minutes into town. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to spend the night at your comedy club making whiskey sours for everyone.
Do you know how to make whiskey sours?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's 3 ingredients.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I don't know how to make them. And you don't drink, right? You don't drink?
Not at all. Never have.
So I don't know how to make them. And I used to drink at least.
I'll teach you.
Okay, perfect.
It'll be like the Karate Kid for whiskey sours.
We'll make this like a special event. We'll be like, Ken Reed's in town. We're doing whiskey sours.
Yeah.
If you want to do a live episode, we could set it up as, I don't know, what show would relate to whiskey sours?
That's a good question. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something. There's got to be something. Yeah. But my only rule is I refuse to perform anywhere that has paper on the walls.
That would be so funny if they were like, Ken Reed is going to be here. You need to paper up these windows.
Some kids might see that.
Yeah. Yeah, no paper, no bathrooms. You know how it is.
Yeah.
In the building, though.
Well, I mean, that's good, because if you had bathrooms and no paper, that could be a problem.
Right. Good point.
Oh, Shawn. Haven't you missed me?
I have, man. I've missed Boston a lot. Although, to be honest, I didn't see out a lot when I was in Boston.
No. It was very rare. I'm not a hangout guy.
Yeah.
I'm at home drinking whiskey sours and arm wrestling myself.
Arm wrestling the dogs.
Yeah. Their elbows are totally in the wrong spot.
I thought, you know what? I watched some of Coach today to try and catch up on it because I thought we'd talk more about it. Are you
complaining? Was that a complaint?
No. I'm trying to. No, I was going to tell you this because I know that you like dogs.
Oh yeah.
And the second episode of season 6 is they want to put a dog down, and Hayden Fox is like dead set on saving the dog.
Does he save him?
Yeah, in the end he does.
Okay. Because I feel like
I wouldn't tell you that if it was a sad ending.
Well, you never know. Like I feel like the only warnings that we should have on any television shows or movies is if dog just die. I don't care about nudity, violence, anything else. Just like dog death, instant NC-17.
Did you see Chernobyl? Because
no.
There was an episode of that where Sarah was like, I am going to leave, and when it's over, you tell me.
Yeah, like I am still traumatized from watching The Fly 2 with Eric Stoltz.
Oh, I haven't seen The Fly 2. I saw The Fly. I didn't even know there was a sequel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a sequel. It's interesting.
So I don't want to watch it, is what you're saying?
Well, no, unless you're into that.
Into dogs dying?
Yeah.
I don't want to watch.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to check. You never know. So on Monday night, here's an interesting thing. WPIX, the New York station, is showing Action Jackson with Craig T. Nelson.
See, I should have been watching that.
Monday night, there's some interesting stuff on. We also have, on TBS, we have The Deliberate Stranger, starring Mark Harmon, the true story of serial killer Ted Bundy.
Can't get over that. We got to make that movie every 2 years.
Every 2 years, people be like, see, he's like a killer, right? But he's also not ugly. Sold.
Amazing.
Then there's a made-for-TV world premiere movie on NBC that night, and it stars Amanda Donahoe, who probably everybody knows from Lair of the White Worm, and Bruce Dern, and it says she was a cop and did it their way until someone killed her brother. Now she's a bounty hunter, doing it her way. And the movie's called It's Nothing Personal.
Yes.
I need to see that now.
That sounds like something that I would watch, and I don't remember watching it.
So Monday nights up until like the mid-90s were always the made-for-TV movie night. And there's some great ones. Like at the same time on ABC, there's a movie starring Eva Marie Saint and Annette O'Toole, who's married to, oh my God, from Laverne and Shirley. Jesus Christ, I can't remember his name. But it says something in her past drove her into a double life and a killer's arms. Annette O'Toole, kiss of a killer. Michael McKean, that's her husband.
Kiss of a Killer.
Michael McKean, Kiss of a Killer. Oh, actually, I'm looking at It's Nothing Personal, and you got Bruce Dern, Yaphet Kotto, Veronica Cartwright. This actually looks all right for a terrible movie.
Writing it down.
It's Nothing Personal.
It's Nothing Personal.
There's also an ad in here that is for a Garfield statue.
Okay.
Is
it a phone? Is
no,
it a Garfield phone?
It's strictly decorative. This says, a cat's home is his castle. Just ask Garfield. It's him sitting in like an easy chair with a remote control. And this is Jim Davis has personally designed Sittin' Pretty to capture Garfield's famous personality and irresistible charm to perfection. From the familiar quote-unquote half-mast eyelids to the huge orange feet, Garfield is portrayed in all his glory. Just look at the charming detail. The ice-cold drink in one hand and the TV remote in the other, and the realistic popcorn and potato chips. This is the worst part. This is gross. Just waiting for a lazy poke from one of Garfield's furry paws. Garfield's furry poke is not a thing I ever want to see.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm a Heathcliff guy.
I enjoyed Heathcliff. I like the Cadillac Cats.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that place, instead of be called the Mousier, should be called Garfield's Furry Poke.
Oh, that could be confusing.
If they can get the rights, I'm assuming that you want it licensed.
Yeah, there might be some problems with that.
But people might think it's a pokey place.
Yeah, they might. Well, yeah, it might get popular. I don't know.
What's the regional cuisine down there?
They do a lot of barbecue here.
Is good?
It's pretty good. We get some barbecue downtown. It's nice. Place is called Delta Blues, and then we have a really good restaurant down there called Union 41. But that's more like, I don't know. It's like just modern, sort of contemporary food.
It's called Union. It's not Confederate 41.
No. I don't know if the owner is from around here. There's a lot of transplants that live in Bristol.
Like people who've had organ transplants?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. A place to recover. They just bring the buses straight here.
Is there like a college or something? Like what brings everyone there?
I mean, from what I can tell, because I go on stage all the time and I talk about like being from Boston and moving down here with my wife, who is from Bristol. Mm-hmm. And so often people are like, I'm from Chicago and I moved here with my husband, or I'm from, we're San Francisco and I moved here with my wife. There's a lot of people that like moved away from Bristol and then they came back with their spouse. So like that's a big part of it. And then some people just like got to work remotely and now they moved down here. And then of course there's like a bunch of people that are like, I want to go somewhere that's like, I don't know, I don't want to be in a city anymore. There's like a lot of conservatives that moved out of cities.
So racist
back here. Well, I wasn't gonna put it that way, but there's I don't know. There's just a lot of like transplants here. There's a lot of people that aren't from here that live here now.
So I'm picturing some sort of weird conspiracy where they've like sent women all out from the town and they're like, "Don't come back without someone."
That's what, dude, I have made that claim several times, that there's a recruiting program where they send their people out and they're like, you find yourself a husband or wife, whatever, bring them back here and we're growing the town. And I think it's working.
Yeah, the Moonies called that flirty fishing.
Oh.
It's a recruitment tool. Tuesday, Class of 96 is on.
Class of 96, that sounds familiar.
This was a cocky show. So this was after Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place. In 1992, they were like, we're going to have a show called Class of 96 because we're going to be on until senior year in 1996. Gosh. And then they got canceled in 13 episodes.
They did not make it.
No, that was like a real like, what are you going to cancel it? It's called Class of 96.
Yeah.
And they did. Yeah. This episode, it says, the problem with friends becoming lovers is that you can never go back.
Right.
I don't know
you
if that's
never
the problem.
Go back.
But if they want to call that the problem. So you don't have the issue with you, do you?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to it.
That's all right.
It somewhere.
That's all right. There's a bunch of weird. This is since it's mid-season replacement, you get all these shows that like they are just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Like on Tuesday night, there's a show called Key West, and it's like a wacky. It literally says the wildest, weirdest, most wonderful place on earth. And there's like a dolphin with sunglasses and a guy with a meat cleaver for some reason.
That's Tom Dustin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you done their club?
I haven't, but I imagine he's the one with the meat cleaver.
Yeah. Or just is like riding a dolphin with sunglasses on.
Yeah, could be. Either way.
Oh, wow. This actually, so I'm reading the synopsis for this episode. And so this ad looks real wacky. There's like a Jamaican guy doing the sunglasses thing you do when like a hot girl goes by. Mm-hmm. There's a alligator wearing a hat. And then this is what the episode's about. Flu-stricken and short-staffed, Seamus vows to get the paper out if it kills him. And it might. A mysterious, fiery stranger captivates Cody, and Gumbo faces up to the 10th anniversary of his beloved wife's death. That's not a dolphin in sunglasses.
No, that sounds a little bit more serious.
Do you have like raccoons and possums and stuff? Is there like a weird Tennessee animal?
I mean, you just see a lot of deer around here.
Okay. Ticks? A lot of Lyme disease?
Not really. But yeah.
Are you checking?
I check all the time. I always go to my doctor and I go, do I have Lyme disease? I need to know. Once a week I ask them and they're like, stop it.
Yeah.
But no, there's just a lot of deer around here. And I assume the possum are eating all of the ticks. That's their job.
Yeah,
right?
it is. And they're immune. They're pretty awesome. They can't get rabies either.
Yeah, that's right. So we just leave it to them. We just trust them to do what they do.
So did like you see deers eating your like stuff in your yard? Like what goes through your garbage?
I don't know if anything goes through the garbage. But the deer will eat, like I've seen them like eating plants like on the front yard and stuff.
Like just staring at you?
Yeah, they're just like, I dare you to try and stop me.
I'm going to look you right in the eye.
But mostly you just have to make sure you don't hit them. That's the big thing.
Like punch them?
Like with your car.
Oh, with your car. Okay.
Yeah. You know, they get real annoyed if you punch them.
Yeah. How am I supposed to know that with everything you just told me, you weren't like, you never been at a bar and someone's like, let's go punch deers so you can punch deers the hardest?
That does sound like something I do. You're right.
Oh, Bambi took a left cross. Something like that.
Yeah.
So this particular week, and this is why, and I'll wrap up with this. This is why I thought you picked this issue. Okay. And you've let me down.
Sorry.
And I don't know if you can ever be the same in my eyes again. But on Thursday night, exclusive live coverage on Fox 25 at 7:30. It's Larry Bird night.
Oh.
And it's his retirement night. This is a 2.5 hour Larry Bird tribute live from the Boston Garden, hosted by Bob Costas, who apparently is hosting every single show this week. Also scheduled to appear Magic Johnson, who's also on every single show this week.
Yeah.
I remember watching this when it was on. I wasn't even a big basketball person, but it was like mandatory that everyone in New England watched Larry Bird Night.
Yeah, you know what's funny is basketball is the only sport of the big ones in America that I never really followed.
Why?
Like, I don't know. I just never, like, for not any reason that I know of, I just never really got into it.
Even hockey?
Yeah, I watched hockey a lot. I was a big hockey fan. Yeah.
Lacrosse?
Well, I said of the big. So I'm talking like basketball, baseball, football, hockey. Those are the big four in my mind. And I followed 3 of those 4.
Darts?
Darts. That was a big one for me.
Do you guys have a dartboard at the club?
No.
I was gonna say,
We have it. It's in the back of it's on the back of the
I was
stage.
gonna say dartboard and comedy club. That's either the worst idea or the best idea ever.
I mean, like, let's not pretend that, like, neither of us have performed in front of a dartboard, because I certainly have.
I definitely have too. But weirdly, it wasn't there when I started.
Yeah?
But by like halfway through the set, all of a sudden it's there.
Somebody just snuck it behind you, put it up on the wall.
Is there a lot of people who do like skeet shooting and like do people carry guns down there?
I don't know about skeet shooting, but yeah, like, people carry, I think, more around here. Like, people, like, open carry a lot.
By more, you mean at all?
Yeah. In Boston, I don't remember ever, like, being at a restaurant and, like, looking over and seeing a gun on somebody's hip, but I have seen that here.
And have you ever seen anyone have to use them?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
And is it always one, or do guys have like the Old West, like, you know, the both hips kind of thing going on?
No, I've only ever seen one. And it's usually, like, you can't really see most of it. You can, like, barely see the handle because it's got, like, a Velcro over the top or, like, a button over the top. So
Velcro. It's like guys who wear Velcro shoes.
it's laced up in there.
So what?
But yeah, I've seen people, like, open carry around here. And, like, a lot of places have signs that tell you can't carry
Right.
before you go in. Yeah.
And do they stop you like, I'm sorry, sir, you can't bring that in here. I'm sorry about your dick.
Sorry. That just messed me up. I've never seen anybody be told that they can't bring a gun in, which is like, I assume when you go somewhere, you know if you're not supposed to bring it before you get there.
Yeah, like,
But that would be awkward if you were like security and you're unarmed and then you're like, hey, bro, leave while they have a gun on them. That feels uncomfortable.
see, I would say to that person, be like, oh, I noticed you can't fight.
Yeah.
So I've just Googled, can I open carry at the Mouse's Ear?
Okay. What does it say?
And it says yes. Yes, you can.
Great. One more reason I won't go there.
Why on earth would some guy be like, going to the strip club, better bring my gun?
Well, he's going to stuff something in the front of his pants.
I guess, yeah. If it's not a love gun, it's a 9mm. What is wrong with people? That's my new podcast. I'll just have a guest every week and go, Shawn, what's wrong with people? Go.
I don't know. If you want to start that one, I'll hop on with you anytime.
Okay.
Man.
We'll have to do this spinoff. Finally on Friday night, the only thing I want to mention is Golden Palace is on. And this was the sequel / spinoff series to Golden Girls that was a massive failure.
Wow.
It was everyone but B. Arthur. All the Golden Girls, they bought a hotel in Miami and ran a hotel called the Golden Palace. And Don Cheadle was on this show, as was Cheech Marin. This particular episode, the seductive Blanche and the equal charming hotelier next door, played by Ricardo Montalban, try to keep business-like. Meanwhile, talentless Chewy tries his hand at volleyball, and James Carver is in this episode. Political
Weird.
strategist, architect behind Bill Clinton's presidential run, James Carver is in this episode where the A story is Blanche and Ricardo Montalban are horny and they're trying not to be.
Yeah, how can you not love James Carver?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Somebody approached him and was like, do you want to be in this? And he was like, absolutely, of course.
And the show failed, you say?
Yeah, how is that possible?
They were like, you know what people want from Golden Girls is if these women could be older and hornier. Well, Shawn, to wrap up here, TV Guide is not just informative, it has opinions and it cheers and it jeers. So I'd like to read you the cheers and jeers from this week, January 30th to February 4th, 1993. Oh, is that your dog?
This is my daughter.
Oh, it's your daughter. I should tell people, I asked him that question before I saw her. Hello, how you doing? Yeah.
Okay, go see your mama, okay? Can you go see your mama?
Mama, where is her?
She's on the couch.
Very
Sorry
cute.
about that.
No, it's not a problem at all. So we start with cheers. Oh, there's the dog.
Yeah, she's running around the back now, too.
Cheers to pluck and panache. We hardly ever get to cheer those. Who's complaining about that? Both of which were in rare abundance when PBS's recent headlong leap into the great late-night chat-off. This month, Charlie Rose, who was later fired for sexually assaulting women, that's my aside, who has been talking up a storm locally and on cable, took his interview show national on PBS. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. I'm going to have to flat out disagree with this because the man's a rapist.
Get him.
Yeah, Shawn is nodding yes. He is in agreement. He's not looking at me like, how dare you?
But like if I was here to defend him.
Yeah, be like, finally, I get to defend Charlie Rose after an hour and 10 minutes.
Wait, is that the same guy that's still on TV?
No, he's not on TV anymore.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
During the Me Too thing, him and Matt Lauer were like, they kind of got the axe at the same time.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll be back in a year because no one ever faces consequences. Jeers to traffic reports, weather updates, fire and felony footage, and all those other local news bits that have crept into the network's morning news shows. It was about 6 months ago that both NBC and CBS decided to let their affiliates have more time within the 2-hour Today and This Morning broadcasts. At first, sounded like a solid enough idea. Let the home team get some more exposure. Give the viewer more info about what's happening around the corner as well as around the world. But that's not what's happening! It's all caps and has 2 exclamation points. As anyone who watches more than 20 minutes of the shows on any given day knows, the local segments are the same over and over. It's still gonna rain, the tractor trailer's still upside down on the bridge, and the bank is still robbed. Whoever thought we'd be left yearning for more, Willard, but at this point, we are.
Wow.
What an old man complaint.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oof. This one is near and dear to your heart. Cheers to Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
Yes.
The best shot in the arm for family viewing to mosey along in quite some time. Yes, we all laughed when we heard the premise. Jane Seymour, Madam miniseries, carries her black bag and good intentions to the frontier as a proto-feminist physician. Right? Then CBS yanks it from the Fall 92 lineup and then they're like, yeah, it's good. There's no... Oh, this is weird. More significantly, kids like it. A tough sell given the fact that the action takes place in the remote past and there's no butt jokes. Kids love butt jokes. Do you find that kids love butt jokes on stage?
I can just show you.
I think that kids do love butt jokes, and specifically Toots jokes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. You just proved that point.
Hey, I don't hear him.
You don't hear him?
You're not missing much. And then they do a cheers to Porky Pig for still being around.
Big girl.
That's not all, folks.
Yeah. I like Porky Pig. I think he's got not enough credit for being, he's an underrated Looney Tune. Well, that is the week, Shawn. We'll have to do this again in 7 years and when you're in a different state.
Yeah, next up is Wisconsin.
Okay. All right. Is that when you have a throuple? We'll take some girl from Wisconsin to marry
Somebody
you both.
else brings me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it
so
works.
funny.
Well, your album's out now.
Yeah, it is.
Your first album.
Please.
We're saying the other one didn't happen.
Yeah, the other one doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you don't have it already, you never will.
But you could sell it on eBay for like a ton of money.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the demand for it is crazy.
Have you ever looked?
No, but, most of my listeners come from people that are looking for Jay-Z, so I think it's fine.
That's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least worth one Garfield statue. Is bartering big down there, or do people use like regular money?
Yeah, they have people use regular money, but they have a place called the Barter Theater because that was how you would gain entrance, was by bringing something like a can of soup or something.
I can't believe that you had an actual answer to that ridiculous question I just asked you, and it was not what I was thinking it would be.
It's like a historic theater, man. People love it.
Do people
Barter
still
Theater.
try to do it?
I don't know. I would have to look into that. I think that they might allow it on like one day a year or something like that.
Like leap year?
yeah, like this year. Yeah, they might have done it.
Is it like a movie theater or like a burlesque place?
It's like a theater for acting and live shows.
Oh,
Not
it's
like
an
a movie
acting theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a theater.
All right, so you could barter, like, be like, I wrote a play, can I watch another one?
Yeah, yes. If I give you a play, can I watch another play?
2 plays, you can watch one. That's how it works here at the
Yeah.
Barter Theater.
It's a good deal, depending on the value of how good the play is.
Yeah. Well, if I ever come into a large sum of money, I'll come down and visit, and we'll make whiskey sours and ride motorcycles
Nice.
and just terrorize that little town.
It sounds like fun, dude. If you come down, we are definitely riding motorcycles, and I don't care how much you don't want to do it. And then we're gonna go to some bar and just challenge dudes to arm wrestling matches.
I'll just wrestle the arms of dude after dude till the whole town has to move in shame.
I love it. You're embracing
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'll do. You know, when in Rome, steal from the Greeks. That's what I say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Shawn.
Thank you, man. It was great to talk.
There you go, that's Shawn. That was so much fun. Sometimes I miss leaving the house, but then I can interact with people like that and not have to leave my house. And I don't have to arm wrestle anyone or do push-ups, so that's pretty exciting. Check out his club if you're in Tennessee and buy his new record From Boston to Bristol. He recorded it here in Boston at the Rockwell, and it's very funny. It's on Blonde Medicine, it's on Bandcamp, it's on all the places. So I also put links in the show description so you can listen to it there. If you have people you'd like me to get on the show, please email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. I'm out more this summer, so you can also go to icanread.com. I should have any show dates I'm doing up there, or on social media at Kenneth W. Reed or at TV Guidance. Also the Patreon. Thank you once again for everyone who is generous enough to give to the Patreon. As little as $1 a month is a huge help to the show. $5 a month, you get a PDF of that week's TV Guide if we discuss TV Guide that week. So you would have been able to follow along with this issue, which is more than Shawn did. So already you're doing well. But that is our Patreon, TV Guidance Counselor on Patreon. You can go there. I'll be here next week. I hope you will too, for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
Our club is like in a building